I have here a book by a Russian guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's the Gulag Archipelago. And I'm going to tell you some stories from here that are based on true stories of real people who got arrested and sent to the gulags, which was the Soviet prisons. Okay. Arrest. Need it be said that it is a breaking point in your life, a bolt of lightning which has scored a direct hit on you. That is an unadmissible spiritual earthquake not every person can cope with, as a result of which people often slip into insanity. The universe has as many different centers as there are living beings in it. Each of us is a center of the universe, and that universe is shattered when they hiss at you. You are under arrest. If you are arrested, can anything else remain unshattered by this cataclysm? But the darkened mind is incapable of embracing these displacements in our universe, and both the most sophisticated and the veriest simpleton among us, drawing on all life's experience, can gasp out only, "Me? What for?" And this is a question which, though repeated millions and millions of times before, has yet to receive an answer. The traditional image of arrest is also trembling hands, packing for the victim, a change of clothes, a piece of soap, something to eat, and no one knows what is needed, what is permitted, what clothes are best to wear, and the security agents keep interrupting and hurrying you. You don't need anything, they'll feed you there, it's warm there. It's all lies. They keep hurrying you to frighten you. The traditional image of arrest is also what happens afterward, when the poor victim has been taken away. It is an alien, brutal, and crushing force totally dominating the apartment for hours on end, a breaking, ripping open, pulling from the walls, emptying things from wardrobes and desks onto the floor, shaking, dumping out, and ripping apart, piling up mountains of litter on the floor, and the crunch of things being trampled beneath jackboots. And nothing is sacred in the search. Okay, so different ways people were arrested in the Soviet Union. And remember, they're only arrested for basically having an idea that's different from the government. Doesn't mean that they really did anything wrong. It's just communist governments are oppressive. They like to scare people and just use people like tools. And they needed or wanted to build cities in the rural parts of cold Siberia. And so they needed people to work there. Nobody wanted to work there, so they forced people to go there by accusing them of things that weren't really crimes. Okay, so Irma Mendel, a Hungarian, obtained through the Comintern 2 front row tickets to the theater. So she had tickets to go see a show. And she was going with somebody, and they sat through the show very affectionately. When it was over, he took her straight to prison, even though they were dating. He took her to prison, okay, because apparently she had said something that he didn't like. So there's the story of another lady who, on a June day, got in a taxi cab, and it says that the taxi cab driver knew very well what he was supposed to do and not take her to her destination, but in fact take her to prison. There's another story of a Navy captain named Boris Burkovsky who was all dressed up and going home to see his wife. Bought her a cake. They were going to have a cake for dinner that night, I guess for dessert. Yeah, he was kidnapped and sent off to prison before he even made it home. There's another case here where they were given a ticket for vacation. Oh, you finally get to go on vacation, because in the Soviet Union, you weren't allowed to go on vacation wherever you wanted to. You couldn't go wherever you wanted to. You had to wait until they told you could go on vacation, and they told you where to go / where you could go on vacation. So finally, it's time for vacation. Woo! But then they went to the train station and all got arrested because it was a setup. They gave them the ticket to go to the train station to go on vacation because they wanted to arrest them. They would take people while they were working at a factory, or while they were at the hospital, or while they were having surgery. The person who wrote this book also got arrested, and he got arrested. He was actually working in the military, and his brigade commander called him. I'll just read it. The brigade commander called me to his headquarters and asked me for my pistol. I turned it over without suspecting any evil intent, when suddenly, from a tense, immobile suite of staff officers in the corner, two counterintelligence officers stepped forward hurriedly, crossed the room in a few quick bounds, their forehands grabbed simultaneously at the star on my cap, my shoulder boards, my officer's belt, my map case, and they shouted theatrically, you're under arrest. So they ripped off all of his badges and everything, and arrested him right there. All right, so there are many, many more stories. One that I remember is that there was somebody walking home from work one day, and a guy pops out from behind him. Basically, they have a fence with the parts of the fence that can open up like this, and they rigged it so that it was a top secret door. They'd pop out behind the guy as he was walking to work, kidnap him, and pull him back behind the fence, and nobody ever sees him again. And there was another story of a teller at a bank who was actually a spy, and the person came and did something at the bank, and they were supposed to arrest him, so they just pulled them into the bank, like through the teller window, took them off to prison. So lots of horrible things that happened under communist rule in Soviet Russia, and that's why we don't like communism, because as you give someone power, they like to take that power and run with it. They abuse that power. They want complete and total power. So we need to always remember to protect our freedoms and appreciate the freedoms we have in our country.